My name is Andjelic, and I'm SVP and Global Strategy Director of Havas Lux Hub. And our job is to help luxury, fashion, and lifestyle clients adapt to digital economy. This, in practice, means that we help those clients really understand technologies that are disrupting them and successfully use them to achieve business results. Lux Hub has a strong customer-centric approach, and we use customer experience as a center for making decisions about go-to-marketing strategies, business strategies, and new revenue models.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Conlan, so I obviously work with Anna. I'm the managing director of Havas Lux Hub, and as Anna said, we exist to help executives adapt for the digital economy. I must admit that I have been on a stage here in the SLS before with a DJ, but it definitely was not to talk about the subjects that we're about to go into, which is about the role of data in the... Am I doing this okay?
Closer, closer.
Closer? Is this...
If it sounds too loud, it probably is. But doesn't.
So what we're going to be talking about today is the role of data in the luxury hospitality industry. And this has been an approach that we've developed using a combination of different perspectives, using brand, using customer experience, as well as media and design perspectives. So first of all, why does this matter? Well, you more than anyone know that the global hospitality landscape is one that is very complex, it is very large, and it is very fragmented. And the annual revenue alone from the marketplace stands at $550 billion globally. But what we see is, while we're all very happy that the luxury industry is growing, there are actually new forces that are driving this growth that didn't exist even 5 years ago. I'm sure everyone feels that. And we see them being, what we're seeing is the industry is going through a radical shift. And there's a number of different forces that are driving this. Firstly, we're seeing a very new ultra-high net worth consumer that is acting and displaying different behavioral patterns and preferences. Secondly, we're seeing new technologies which are introducing new business models. And finally, as a whole, we're seeing the entire hospitality industry move to a model that is experiential, where the property alone is no longer the core value unit. It's actually about the experience of the stay. The truth that we all know is that the biggest innovations in the hospitality arena aren't happening inside the hospitality world. They're happening outside of it. They're in the hands of the next generation of brands that are using data to define customer preferences. And they're doing this rather than simply recreate the status quo. Go back one.
Sorry.
So what we're seeing is they're using that data to redefine the status quo. In the new world of customer expectations, Uber is synonymous with convenience, Net-a-Porter is synonymous with retail, with immediacy, and Hello Alfred is synonymous with progressive personalization. Can we go back one?
Do you want me to go back?
Back one? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This back one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm totally messing this up. Where am I going now? Oh, this is a disaster.
No, it's not. It's fine.
So wait, it's because this stupid build-up. I never know where I am. Yeah.
Wait until we get to her slides. Sabotage is about to begin.
No,
So consider this number. Over the last 3 years, over $1 billion has been invested in the online rental marketplace. This behavior is also transferring into the luxury property and travel marketplace. And what the most important thing that this means is that we're seeing the hospitality consumption be completely redefined. This is going to affect prices, it's going to affect product demand, and moreover, it's going to affect the value unit. So what is the value unit for your hospitality? This shift in customer expectations and the way in which they digest experiences is best captured by Brian Chesky. So Brian Chesky, as you all know, is the co-founder of Airbnb. And he almost single-handedly disrupted the hotel industry when he forced them to redefine what the core value unit was. For Chesky, it's not a core value unit that's based around the property. It's not based around the amenities of the hotel. It's about something very different. For him, it's around the experience of the stay. It's about the quality of the stay. It's about the community that's created around it. And it's also about the vibe of the locale and the recommendations. In this vein, hotels are not alone. We're seeing other brands such as Farfetch, such as Uber, such as Spring Shopping Act. And while they don't have any physical products to speak of, they're forcing their consumer, they're forcing all of the brands to think about their offering, not just from a product perspective, but from the perspective of seamlessness, from the perspective of convenience, and most importantly, from the perspective of reliability. So if we look at, so who are these modern brands, hospitality brands that are evoking what is the approach that Chesky refers to? From our perspective, if you look at the modern luxury hospitality landscape, you can divide them into three groups. Firstly, you have the disruptors. They're the digital pure plays that are introducing new business models into the landscape, such as Get My Boat, which obviously is a rental marketplace. You've also got Cruisable, which is removing friction. Secondly, then you've got the innovators. These are the companies such as the Four Seasons or the Porter and Sale that basically are designing digital, they're redesigning the digital touch points around product itineraries and recommendations. And finally, you have the insiders turned outsiders. They're the brands that have clout in other industries that are now entering into the hospitality space, and they're doing this because they know that they can curate the hospitality experiences that their consumers want based on the knowledge they have. So as for the next portion of this, I'm going to hand over to Anna, who's going to walk you through who this new consumer is, as well as talk through some of the recommendations on how you can use data to win with them.
Thanks, Rachel, and sorry about this. It's like, oh, but she's staying here. I mean, it's together. It's just my fault that like I talk really fast, as you will hear, and I was like, is she still talking about the same slide? I can't believe it. I'm like, let's scoot through it. You were great. Thank you. So yes. Woo! So right, so let's get serious. It's your business that depends on this. So the next generation of ultra high net worth individuals is best personalized in the persona of Mark Zuckerberg, and I like to show him usually because he's like what 30 something, and he is the world's youngest billionaire. I mean, he's $35.1 billion. What makes him interesting, and he lives in a house that's $7 million. The second house he has is $10 million. He has 5 cars, and none of which is a Ferrari. So where does this guy spend his money on? And I mean, we need him and others in Silicon Valley. So where he spends money is he is one of the 50 most charitable Americans. So he gives in charity, and he cares about the world around himself. So this is very interesting proposition when it comes to audience, because it means that those people are really defining luxury in terms of like service, convenience, speed, efficiency, and so on, everything that Rachel talked about. They don't need to be told they're glamorous. They don't need status symbols or anything. They already know they're glamorous. What they do need is time, privacy, wellness, small joys, achievement, and so on. They would rather than like own a luxury yacht or a house, they would rather want to go to a specific destination, hard to reach destination, unique. They want things that makes them feel unique. So they expect luxury and luxury hospitality to upgrade itself at the speed of technology. They want their luxury experiences and services to be upgraded at the same speed they upgrade their smartphones. And that's a completely different speed of the industry overall. So now, together, if you combine the companies that Rachel talked about and this new modern ultra-luxury consumer from Silicon Valley, we get a new modern luxury hospitality landscape. Hospitality defined in the most, as a, let's say, luxury travel landscape. And for that, we need to new go-to-market strategies and marketing and marketing approaches. Because right now, what those guys are competing in, it's not, as Rachel said, anymore amenities, the room, and so on. It's really the service and experience and convenience. And by redefining what business luxury travel companies are in, what business are you in? Are you a business like renting out rooms? Are you a business in providing great service and amenities? Or are you in a business like creating more connected world, as Airbnb says? Or are you in the business of providing like something unbelievably memorable and so on? So that is like much easier said than done. But if you look at the luxury travel in terms of Maslow's hierarchy of need, we said, oh, the more luxury you go, the more towards self-actualization you go, you own the top of the pyramid. So now the question is, because of digital, we actually have opportunity to move deeper down the pyramid. And for luxury brand, hospitality brands, they have opportunity to own the areas that previously lacked legitimacy. So they can compete in the areas of belonging, creating local communities or global communities or like-minded communities, or areas of security like high net worth individual banks are doing, or even in the most basic areas of like physiological needs like tracking sleep or heart rate and so on. So now there's with shift towards services and experiences, the playing field is much wider. The competitive playing field is much wider, which is both a good thing and a bad thing, because the competitive landscape is much more crowded. So what we have here is how to think about the use of data in 5 ways in order to shift your marketing and sales activities and media buying and spending activities in order to get better use of data. Because we all know that luxury hospitality companies are reached historical level of data usage. But the question is, are you using it in a really right way? So the first thing is, instead of like following like people around like creepy stalkers, it's better to behave like a butler, to offer white glove service. So use data from Stalker to Butler. But more interesting here is that we can use data as fine-tuning tools that are going to shift the focus of our media efforts from building preference pre-purchase, because there we are really competing with a lot of brands, to shifting deeper in the funnel from consideration evaluation more towards trial and bonding and advocacy and loyalty stages, where people evaluate their decisions differently. And in that second part, deeper part of the customer journey, that is where intimate, meaningful, and personal relationships become more relevant. And outside of hospitality space, Everlane does a great job of this with their conversational commerce. Brands are becoming like providing service rather than like creepily following us and like targeting us with messages. So the second part is really to let go of the funnel once and for all, because funnel is the hangover of the previous media era that focused very strongly on broadcasting and one-way conversations. So now what we are dealing with is moving from the overemphasis on awareness and reach and volume of impressions, and I bet that you still invest, or your media agencies invest in inordinate amount of media dollars into buying impressions by volume instead of like strategically targeting different touch points where customers actually spend their time off. So you're dealing with like gross level media and marketing buy, although there is enough data to say, hey, these are actually the most important touch points across the customer journey, and we actually have enough information, and our analytics can really help us which of those touch points are most desirable from customers' point of view. Let's spend our money there. And usually that again happens deeper in the journey when people are bonding and advocating and are loyal to different brands, rather than in the just volumes of impressions awareness stages. The third part is going from hate selling to service, and we've all been hate sold to. That means like you have 3.5 seconds to book this hotel room. 55 other people are looking at the same hotel right now. You need to act now or it's gone forever. I mean, who makes decisions like that? Seriously, we are behaving as if like we are doing communication in isolation. We're just like targeting like in hate selling to people without actually understanding what are their information and content needs at different parts of their journey? How are they making decisions? Do they turn to their friends, to taste makers, to some cultural blogger? Like, it's all deeper in the funnel. It's not like, oh, there are three rooms left and one of them has your name written on it. So that's something really to reinvest the media dollars based on the data that we really have. And that data revolves really around content and utility and information and all those things that create a personal connection with your consumers. Our job is to really provide service in terms of content and information in different stages of the journey. What their information needs? What information do they need where they're moving towards their purchase path? And now, luckily, we have information to do that. Then we have e-commerce. So, of course, it's fantastic, like what Travelocity is doing in Priceline and so on. Let's forget about them for a second, because I would love to see. I usually, when I book, I go directly to hotels' websites. And some of them are amazing, some of them are less amazing, but all of them should be amazing, and all of them should provide me with information and the entire purchase path that I need. I should not go to discount sites. I should go because I have a relationship with your brand already. And in that sense, e-commerce evolved from purely transactional piece. I buy something, I get something delivered, to the next page when you have like, stage where you have like digital flagships, content, commerce, and community, to e-commerce ecosystems when it's like, now we have some content, and we have influencers, and we have social media, and all of that is actually under the umbrella of our brand, to start thinking not as e-commerce as a destination or a specific activity, but actually throughout as an entire customer journey. And each touch point of the journey should be a conversion opportunity. That means at each stage of the journey, we have really data to shorten the gap between inspiration and conversion. Everything our customers are doing at all touch points should lead them to convert in some way. We should not let them drop off and go somewhere else to book rooms in our hotels. And then the final thing is moving from like campaign dictated rhythm of media buys. So we have a couple of $1 million. We should do a print campaign. We should do a TV campaign. We should do a billboard. Forget about it. There is such thing that's called aggregation of marginal gains. And it's invented not by a marketing guy, but a guy who is actually in cycling. And his name is Sir David Braceford. And he coached British Sky team. And Team Sky team is Delta, right? Okay, so Team Sky actually is British cycling team that never won in the past 50 years any major tournament. So they won Tour de France in 1966. So they've proven that it can be done. What they didn't prove is how to do it again. So year was 2012, Olympic Games were on, and in order to kind of like jolt his team into performance, the coach actually divided everything that he could think of that goes into riding a bicycle into its basic components. So improved everything by 1%, just a little bit, 1%. The pillow that riders were sleeping on, the nutrition of the riders, the gel they used for massages, the way they washed hands, the ergonomics of the bike seat, the weight of the tires. He improved everything just by 1%. Because when he put together all those marginal gains, all those small things, he actually got significant improvement. They won 6 medals in 2012 Olympics and went on 2 more times to win Tour de France. So now why am I telling you this? When applied to data use, to the data strategy, actually this micro, cost-effective and human-centered approach actually gives better results when put together rather than the big media buys that we don't have attribution for, that we don't really know what kind of results they're giving us. So it's much better to have a combination of like smart reach, the integration of product design and marketing, use growth marketing tactics and go small rather than spending money in big places. You're going to be much better off if you make a lot of small 1% improvement across your all marketing initiatives rather than put all your eggs in one basket. And the reason that this actually works, it can be found in the startup industry. Paul Graham, who is a co-founder of Y Combinator, said famously that scaling is doing things that don't scale. What he meant by that is that it's better to have 100 people who love us to death than to have a million people who kind of like us. And actually that approach of creating small, intimate, meaningful communities of really big fans who are going to tell, like share their passion for another 100 people and another 100 people is much better than to have like million people who know about you, but they don't give a shit about you. So, and that approach really proved very, very, very valuable for Uber, for Airbnb, for Spring, for Net-a-Porter, for a lot of startups that start going small and investing in creating viral loops and using network effect. So there is something to there, like, do you know who your biggest fans are? How are you cultivating that community, and how are you rewarding their fandom? So I'll just end on the fact that by being very slow to act, luxury hospitality companies are actually opening up their markets to those startups that are much nimbler to respond to customers' needs, and they're faster to innovate. And all those startups are in the businesses of providing service and experience to their customers. So now the question is, how do you really fast forward and start using data the way they use data so you level up the competitive field? And for me, the most important thing about the use of data is not analytics and numbers, it's actually the customer empathy. So focusing on empathy and using data to kind of support it. And I'll just leave you with that. Thank you.